One of my favorite things to do on my iPhone is to play around and tinker with customizations, both with the software and the hardware. Historically, Apple hasn't been great for either, but that seems to be changing a little bit. Back in 2018, Apple introduced shortcuts with iOS 12, which gave us a few more options for personalization. Then they added widgets, automations, and this past year in iOS 17, we've seen things like external storage and accessory support added. And that, combined with the introduction of the USB-C port, have really opened up what you can do on the iPhone. Lately, that's got me thinking about how I can improve my iPhone experience, both in what I want it to look like and what I want to get out of it. And for the past couple of weeks, I've been trying out a lot of different things to see what enhances my phone and what doesn't. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I want to get into what I've liked the most or found the most useful and some things to look out for as well. So if you want to do something similar to this, or you're just curious about what I've tried, stick around and let's get into it. This video is sponsored by AnkerWork. Hey everyone, Kyle Erickson here. I use my phone for quite a few things, but I often find there's a lot of friction with certain use cases, and things don't always feel as smooth as I want them to. I haven't been particularly fond of my home screen as of late, and with accessories, it's really been hit or miss, and recently I've had some time to address that. I started exploring different methods of customizing my home screen. Things have advanced and opened up quite a lot since the last time I attempted to do anything like this, and likewise, I've been using my phone in a lot of new ways with new accessories, and I found some really fun, useful stuff. So let's kick things off by hopping into the software. Looking at my screen, the first thing that you're going to notice is the wallpaper. I like bright backgrounds that pop, and I've been working on both the desktop and mobile versions of this wallpaper pack and tinkering with them to find what works best. And I'm very happy with how these have come out. I know a lot of folks have been requesting these, and you may have seen bits and pieces of them in videos, but they're ready now. I'll drop a link in the description for this pack if you're interested, along with everything else in this video. The second big change that you'll notice is all my icons are customized, from the regular sized ones in the dock to the smaller ones in the middle of the screen. Those are all from a free icon pack that I've used for years that I'll just add on to if I find anything that's missing or that needs to be updated. I'm sure there are better ones out there, and I may end up making my own at some point, but these are still super clean and complement the wallpaper nicely. The process for adding the icons here is quite different for each space on the phone, and for the ones in the dock, I'll just use the standard shortcuts approach where I'll head into the Shortcuts app, add a new shortcut, and name it something descriptive. And then I'll set the action to open app, where I'll put in whatever I want to open. In this case, I'll select Mail, and back on my shortcut screen, I can hold down on Open Mail and tap Share, and from there I can hit Add to Home Screen. I can then select the image icon option, go to Choose File, and pick an icon from wherever I have that icon pack saved to. Once I pick that, I just hit Add, and you can see it show up on my home screen, and then I can go into Jiggle Mode, and I'll just put it wherever I want, and repeat that for the rest of the icons I want there. Now, you can download apps that'll install icon packs for you to simplify some of this and make it a little less tedious, but playing around with them, I found a lot of them are predatory with subscription models, and because I'd essentially just be doing this for the 4 icons in the dock, I'd rather just not install anything that I don't have to. When it comes to the smaller middle icons, these are perfect for me because previously I'd end up with a bunch of grouped icons on my home screen, and I think that just looks ugly. Not only that, but every time that I wanted to use something, I'd have to open up a group and select an app. And with this, everything is just nicely placed on my home screen, and I don't have to do that anymore. To set those up is quite a bit different, and you'll have to do it via an app named Widgets. Kind of a strange name, I know, but this basically allows me to either choose from a bunch of different custom widgets within the app or make my own, which is what I've done. Essentially, I've placed images within a grid, and then I've put tap icons over each of them. So although this looks like a bunch of individual apps on the home screen, it's actually just one large single widget. I've exported this particular one that I've created, and again, put it in the description if you'd like to use it as a base, along with some instructions on how to set it up, because there's a lot to explain. Probably a little too much for here, but you can see that with this set up and placed on my home screen, it's much more minimal and clean. My other widgets are just some things that I frequently use, like fitness stats and all my battery information from my devices, which are all just stock widgets. And that leaves me with a pretty slick little home screen, which I love, but the more interesting and useful things to me are when it comes to the hardware. I've tried out quite a few accessories since the iPhone 15 and the 15 Pro came out, and these are the ones that I think really elevate my iPhone experience, especially when I'm mobile, including the one from this week's sponsor, which is this AnkerWork S600 speakerphone. The S600 makes a great MagSafe or Qi 2 wireless charging stand, but I can also use it to play music or take calls, and it's fully portable. I can just pair this up to my phone and take it with me wherever I want to work or take a call, and regardless if there's some noise in the background, the 4-mic array in here paired with AnkerWork's acoustic algorithm and what they call voiceprint recognition allows the S600 to focus solely on my voice alone and comes out very clear. This is what my voice would normally sound like in a noisy environment. And this is what it sounds like through the S600 with voice print recognition and AI noise reduction. The S600 has a 5-watt speaker that has 360-degree sound with amazing detail and clarity whether you're on a call or listening to music. It also feels very well built, it's adjustable, and it looks fantastic wherever you place it. AnkerWork is offering a limited time sale on these on Kickstarter where you can save up to 37% with early bird discounts, and that is on a first come first served basis, so check out the link in the description if you're interested in picking one up. As to some of the other things that help me get the most out of my iPhone, like I said, most of these are going to be geared towards mobile use, but you can definitely use them at home as well. Personally, I'm starting to travel a little bit more, and any way that I can make my life easier or better while I'm away, I'm all for, and that starts with some pretty easy upgrades. Both the iPhone 15 and the 15 Pro introduced external display support, and there's a real advantage with that if you're traveling and you're in a hotel and you want to stream something on a TV. First of all, you should never ever sign into any of your accounts on a hotel TV, but if you use your phone, you can actually just get a USB-C to HDMI dongle like the one that I have here, or a USB-C to HDMI cable, and then you can play content directly from your iPhone to the TV. If you'd like to play content that you've got on external storage, say from a thumb drive or an SSD, you can use a USB hub with an HDMI output, but just be aware that you'll probably need the iPhone 15 Pro for that due to bandwidth limitations on the regular 15, and you'll likely want a powered hub if you're using an external drive like this SSD. I use this thing a ton, mostly for recording video, which we'll get into in a second, but these Samsung T7 drives in particular are one of the best external SSD options available for the iPhone 15 Pro. The quality is great, they support the full 10 gigabit per second bandwidth the 15 Pro has to offer, and they're just about the perfect size to fit on the back of your phone, which I like to attach with these little adhesive MagSafe stickers. Obviously, you can store whatever you want on these, but because I've been recording so much video to mine and I'm using the camera features on my iPhone a lot more, I've gone all in on turning this into a little camera rig. This helps me squeeze a lot more out of my phone in terms of video quality and features. It's also much easier to pack around with me versus my mirrorless camera, and I get surprisingly good footage out of it. But there are a number of things that I have to do to address some issues with recording from a phone. First, I need the actual case or cage for my phone, and that's going to give me more options for attaching different accessories. For that, I've got this newer rig that I picked up off Amazon specifically for the 15 Pro, and the great thing about this is it comes with almost everything that I need. There's threads and cold shoe mounts all over for attachments that I want to put on. There's dual handles if I want to stabilize my footage better. And most importantly, there's a 67mm filter adapter that I can just slide in, which just so happens to be the exact same size as the Tamron lens that I use on my A7 IV, which is ideal for me because I can just reuse the filters that I have, or if I buy new ones, I can use them on either camera. With phones, if you want to get good footage, you'll almost always want to throw on an ND filter because it'll help control how much light hits the camera sensor. Most regular cameras usually have an aperture adjustment where you can adjust how much light gets in, but the aperture is fixed on the iPhone, so the only way that your phone can compensate for that is by increasing the shutter speed, and without diving too much into how all that works, essentially phone video ends up coming out choppy in bright areas, so with a variable ND like this, I have more control over that. I can also throw on mist or diffusion filters for a more cinematic look, and the only downside is the filter does block where I'd normally put my MagSafe SSD, but because there's so many open spots on the edge of the cage, that's an easy fix. I can pick up an SSD holder on Amazon for around 30 bucks, that'll do just fine, but I've actually just gone ahead and used a phone holder with a cold shoe mount. These are usually just over 10 bucks as well, and they fit fine, so you do have some options there. I'm going to be taking a trip here in the next couple of months where I'm going to be heavily leaning into this, so if you guys want to know more about how I set this up and record from my iPhone, let me know in the comments down below, and if there's enough interest, I'll put together a little cinematic iPhone recording video. That's probably my favorite customization with the iPhone, and I realize that's not going to be for everyone, but one thing I think will appeal to more people will be using their iPhone for gaming. If you've watched some of my other videos, you've probably seen this Backbone 1 controller show up when I've been talking about testing phone performance with gaming, and this thing is great for turning your iPhone into a little portable console. Normally I'm not a fan of mobile gaming because I think a touchscreen is just a poor input method for that kind of thing, but this makes things a lot more usable in that sense, not only for the games in the Apple Arcade, but it also opens up things like cloud gaming as well. If I'm stuck somewhere and I've got a couple of hours to kill, I can just pop into Xbox Cloud and play my favorite console games, and overall it just enhances my iPhone experience, as does everything that I've talked about today. The home screen changes are not only visually appealing, but they just make things a lot more accessible for me. The accessories that I've mentioned open up some different ways that I can use my phone, and with iPhones being over $1,000 a pop, the more that I can get out of them, the better. Having said that, I would love to know, would any of these products help with the pain points that you have with your phone or with work or travel? Let me know in the comments down below, along with what those might be, along with any other products that you can't live without when it comes to your phone. That's all I have for you today. I hope you found this useful, or at the very least, it's been entertaining. If it was, feel free to hit that like button. If you'd like to see more tech-related content, or help me build a robot that paints abstract art using only spaghetti as its brushes, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next upload.